Okay, guys, just wanted to do something, I guess, a little funny there at the beginning. Waiting on people to come in and whatnot. So just like a little funny video to watch or something while we were loading everything up, letting people come in, rather than you guys just sitting there in silence and staring at a screen that's not moving with the chart on it. Okay, so first off, before we get started, my voice is kind of raspy and a little scratchy as it has been for the past few days, so I do apologize if you guys can't understand me, and if you don't, just give me a shout out and I'll try to repeat myself and clear my throat or something. Okay, so today we're going to look at Bitcoin, Ethereum. We're going to look at the total market cap of the entire crypto market. We're going to look at dominance, and then we're going to check out a few altcoins that are kind of on our list based on your guys' requests from yesterday, and coins that we're in or watching. And then if you have any requests or something that you want looked at while we're here in the live stream, we'll do towards the end. So just throw out your altcoin requests or charts or whatever that you guys want looked at, and then we'll give those a look towards the end there. Excuse me. Okay, so I guess before we really get started, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me just fine. So if somebody just wants to say, hey, I can hear you, just please let me know. And for some of you newcomers here for the live stream, keep in mind that there is like a 12-second delay or something from the time that I finish speaking and the time that you guys can hear it to relay a message back. So if there's 10 to 15 second moment period of silence after I finish speaking and answering some of your guys' questions, just note that there's a little bit of a lapse there. Okay, so let's get started here. Okay, so let's look at Bitcoin. Ooh, my throat is rough. Okay, so Bitcoin has been obviously in this. No, I want to go to Bitstamp. I don't want to use Binance. I want further chart history. Okay, so Bitcoin has clearly obviously been in this long downtrend channel here that we're seeing there. Okay, we are consistently, and depending on, of course, where you take that trend line high, you can take it from the all-time highs. You can even go as far as to take it from up there on the previous highs or whatever and draw your channels that way. But nonetheless, we are in fact still, even on a macro level, putting in lower highs. So you guys have seen this chart before here, so I'm just going to label that a high. And I'm going to copy that down there, and I'm going to label this LH for a lower high. And another lower high there, and this is on the 2-day chart too, mind you guys. Okay, so let's throw out a resistance zone right here that we seem to be struggling to get across, or to get above rather. Very, very, very pesky resistance zone. And let's just go ahead and place a vertical line to kind of identify where that top is. So this 10.3, 10.4 area is extremely stubborn to get above. You can see this wick rejection back here, also matching our wick top rejections here, which of course matches the tops of this confluence over here. And then we're still kind of consolidating under that resistance. So while all of Twitter, of course, is always bullish, they are always bullish no matter what. It's so retarded. They can't seem to understand that if we can't make a higher high and start breaking some of these previous resistance tops, there's no reason to be overly bullish. I mean, we are just constantly in a lower high downtrend. So it's really hard to convince some of the more experienced traders that we're just gonna moon from here and we're just overly bullish, blah blah blah. and we're just going to come all the way up here to like 20,000 or something, some new kind of high. We can't consider those targets unless we start breaking above this resistance right here. If we can't get above 10.3, I'm going to go ahead and call it maybe 10.4, 10.5, just for a little bit more strength above this resistance zone. I don't see any reason to be bullish there. Now, there is bullish momentum, like on a weekly chart, that does show, that we could possibly pump up. But if you guys remember here from this last major crash, from this exact zone from 10.3 down to 3K, all it took, I mean, this all happened on one weekly candle. So it took a pretty bullish weekly candle up here. Oops. Okay, so look at this momentum, look at this trend right here. Okay, so this candle was a full bullish looking candle. I mean, kind of very similar to this here, you could even say, to the current candle that we're on here. And right at the close, almost, that dumped. And then the next weekly just massively dumped and rolled over. So there's nothing to say that we can't hold this rejection here and do the same thing on the next weekly candle. So we're kind of just playing it by ear. This trend does look pretty damn strong though, but again, all it could take is just somebody to just dump it, some kind of black swan event, something to cause panic selling and dump this nice bullish candle into a bearish drop and just absolutely kill the market here. Okay, so we're losing a little strength here on the MACD for the 3-day. I think we just looked at the 2-day. 2-day, look at that 7-day moving average. It kind of rolled over a little bit. It's wanting to kind of come down, or looks like it's wanting to roll over and just die and just drop. You can even argue that this is setting up a distribution pattern. Go down into. Okay, so range lows, range highs, and we're really just kind of distributing within this range. Let's go look at that. Okay, so everybody, where'd it go? Because that's accumulation, and here's distribution. If we're looking at a wick-off pattern here, let me go ahead and delete that. So you see, we got our range highs there, we got our range lows there, and all of this inside this range, this chop range, is a distribution pattern, and you could argue the same is happening here. Now, coupled with these lower highs here, it still kind of really makes it hard to paint a bullish picture. Oh, we're just going to go up there and just pump the new time highs. There's a similar pattern right here. Obviously not quite as formed as this pattern that we're currently in here, but we did kind of distribute here before we began a markdown series. And look at the 6 hour right here, starting to roll over just a little bit, just a little bit, and starting to lose strength. So if we start trickling back down and we start coming back down to test this 8,600 range, I got a feeling we're gonna lose it, and we're gonna break this support, and we're gonna get pretty ugly. Now, what I don't want to see though, I don't want to see another monster like 50% flash crash. I hope this drop, if it does happen, when it happens or whatever, I hope it's kind of slow and controlled and actually follows, some good, decent bounces and just kind of works its way down, going well into the summer there. This looks like July maybe. Now that's, of course, that's all speculation, but we don't want to get caught with our pants down, especially with the bullish momentum on alts. Okay, look, we can even argue a similar situation here. Look at all of this. Okay, range lows, range highs. all of this distribution patterns in here. We didn't make a new high, so it wasn't a bullish structure. So you can see here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, almost very similar structures in their nature. Lower highs, dump, lower highs, dump, lower highs, and then we can put a question mark down here to see if we're going to dump. So I'm really having a hard time following crypto Twitter because obviously they're 90% of the way wrong anyways. But when I draw, if I'm taking a trend line up here or something, somewhere like that, and I'm seeing that we are consistently on every high time frame making a lower high, it's really hard to be bullish. It's really hard to just go, yep, we're going up there. Okay, so for me, man, my throat is rough. For me to be bullish, we first of all need to break this range high, flip it as support, and then make a new high. We got to get above this 10.4, 10.5 area, or it's just going to end very, very badly. Okay, we can even go and look at, let's say, I don't know, let's say what the monthly looks like. Oops. Is this still Bitstamp? Yeah, this is Bitstamp. Let me go back to the weekly real quick. I wanted to do something. Okay, so let's say that we are going to break down this trend here. And I'm just throwing these trend lines up here pretty quick, so don't mind me if they look a little rough. Okay, so let's say that we do hold true to this next failure right here and we do not break above this range. Also, I am on the lookout for a blow off top, a quick pump up here to this 12,000 range or so maybe, and trap some bulls thinking that we're going to moon and then they're just going to turn and dump it down. So that is a possibility as well that I'm also watching for. But if we fail again to make some higher highs to continue a bullish pump, then we're no doubt at least going to come back and test this lower trend line, which is back right around this 55, 6,000 mark, and then maybe we're going to do something like that and fall back down. Now I did make this comparison to silver. Oops. And we want silver on a weekly as well. So, I mean, yeah, granted, there's going to be like a time lapse thing because obviously Bitcoin moves a whole lot faster, but you can see a similar fractal-like play with silver against Bitcoin. So here's your all-time high there. Here's your all-time high here, and we can consider this 3K mark down here for Bitcoin, down here with silver. Okay, so I don't know if we can consider this dump right here to be that equivalent, or if, excuse me, or if we're going to look at this structure right here, because this is a nice distribution pattern right there, and we can equate that to this same distribution pattern here. And if there is some kind of black swan event to kill Bitcoin or crush it or whatever, I don't know if it would be Tether or the BitMEX fiasco that's going on or whatnot. And let's just assume that this were to just dump just like silver did here. I mean, that would kind of put us back down in that $1,000, $1,200 range, back down here off of one of these supports. So there is a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with Bitcoin that we don't know about. Everybody is aware that BitMEX is like having some kind of lawsuit going on, and Tether is supposedly getting looked at and are investigated pretty heavily, as Tether is really not that any different than the Federal Reserve. They're printing Tether to prop up Bitcoin price, and I think it's like something like $2 billion or more. So I mean, I don't know. So if that were the case, that could be pretty catastrophic for Bitcoin and the crypto market, because that would paint a large picture that the entire crypto market is heavily overvalued. I mean, all of it. Okay, so let's back up. So right now, as it looks, Bitcoin looks to be rolling over right here. I mean, look at your MACD right here. Your MACD is wanting to come down and cross under. And again, your distribution pattern. Okay, so we're kind of failing to make pull up another high right there and at least test the range highs. So if we're going to fail there, we might going to trickle back down and probably start testing that lower channel there. Excuse me, around 8,600. Yeah, I might need a shot of whiskey or something. I don't know if I got like cat hair, cat hair or something in my throat or what's going on. Okay, so this is what I see for Bitcoin. I'm not going to get bullish on a macro level until we start seeing something solid to close over this 10.4, 10.5 range and start making a higher high there. Otherwise, we're just consistently making lower highs just all the way across from 20K down to where we are now. Just lower highs everywhere. And it really doesn't paint a good picture for Bitcoin. So the bulls really need to launch this up to this 10.4, 10.5 level and close it. Break this at least range highs here to be convincing. And then I would watch to see if we're going to catch some kind of bull trap, blow off top or something on a scam pump or something. But if this starts to get a little bit more weaker, then it's going to open the next daily or next weekly candle this evening bearish. So I'm going to be on the watch for that to see how this forms. But as it looks right now, this is kind of starting to want to roll over. But I'm not going to get bearish to see this 8,600 level test until we break like this 9,100, 9,200 range right here. So we may very well just come and test here and then get another pump. But as it looks now, this is rolling over to come back down. So I'm going to be looking for around this 92 area to see how this mid-range is going to hold support, or if the mid-range is going to fail. And if the mid-range fails, we're going back down to the bottom. Okay, so let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum on a weekly standpoint looks vastly different than Bitcoin. It's got a much stronger feel to it than Bitcoin does, especially looking at this MACD right here. So you see this blue line here, this MACD blue line. Look how much it's hovering these price candles here and kind of getting that separation between that orange line and it's trending bullish. That's a pretty strong push right there for Ethereum. Okay, same here with the 7-day moving average. It's got the candle, the Ethereum candle right there as support. You can see it's rested right there above the tip of that 7-day moving average, and it's pushing up. So it's pushing in a bullish momentum pattern. You can see the similar thing right here. So here is a weekly candle pushing off of the 7-day moving average as support, and then we got 2 more weeks of bullish push for Ethereum. So if this were to follow that similar trend, then our next target would be right up here in that 270, 280 range to test the top of that wick and to test the tops of those 2 wicks there, which of course would be the top of that resistance zone there. So ETH is still trending bullish from a weekly standpoint. Okay, so we rejected right here off of that wick, off of those wicks, and kind of chopped through the center there. So there's a little bit of a pullback there. However, the trend still looks pretty intact. So I would be worried or cautious here if this rejection here holds true. So you see this inside bar bearish candle right here. Okay, this daily candle opened as a drop candle inside of this last daily candle here. So this inside bar candle needs to get some bullish push on it, because if it closes like this on a daily time frame, 7-day moving average could come up and it could possibly hold true to that rejection and get a pullback back down to the 200s. And then we could probably see something like that too. Okay, so if I'm just kind of copying candles here, it can form like a mini distribution pattern, pull back to the support zone, regather some strength, and then get another push. Now that is only assuming though that it does not break this resistance, because we did open in a large rejection candle there at the bottom of this resistance zone. Okay, so let's zoom down to some lower time frames. Okay, now we can kind of see how this is backing up that thought process. So look at our OBV here. Massively trending bearish here. Our RSI topped off. Okay, look at our RSI starting to come down. Look at our MACD starting to roll over here. If this gets any weaker. Now the 7-day did not roll yet. Let me zoom in here. Okay, so I got my cursor over the 7-day moving average, and you can kind of see it right here in the middle of this candle. So it didn't quite roll yet. So that means on the next let's see, 6-hour candle here in the next 4 minutes or so, it's going to come out, and it'll come out from behind that candle, and we'll see if it still continues a bullish momentum, or if it'll do that pattern like I said and start to roll and come back down to test some support and gather up and rebuild some more strength for the next push. So this is just a simple rule of horizontal price action, guys. A resistance is a resistance until broken. Okay, so if this holds as that resistance, oops, not that one, then we're going to fall and come back and test the lower $200 range. Now again, a resistance is a resistance until broken. Support is a support until broken. So if we cannot be overly bearish until the 200s break, and when the 200s break, then we'll come back down and test these 140 ranges. But if we roll and hold this resistance, we'll come back, probably reaccumulate, build some more bids up, and then make that last push. Okay, so keep that in mind here. Okay, resistance, support, I could probably change that green. Okay, and that's just rules of horizontal PA, rules of a horizontal price action. Okay, so you can kind of build that thought process on why it could be bearish to roll over and come back down. Because see, again, here's our OBV. We're trending negative on the OBV, trending bearish. Our RSI is looking a little weak here. And our MACD, I mean, it's not showing it just yet. That's the daily. So I'm bouncing between time frames, building my thought process on what it might do. So here again is the 8-hour moving average. So we could distribute here, fall, and then bam. Okay, just kind of building that thought process and my bias around what the different time frames tell me. So macro levels were still bull, so I don't see any reason why we would fall below 200, but yet these lower middle time frames are showing bearish, so I don't see any reason or any signals that is going to justify pushing above this 250 range to start testing up here in the 280s. So because we're bullish on macro levels but bearish on the medium time frames, we don't want to start looking for targets and supports way back here. We want to play our nearest and our most local support zones closest to us. So there's a lot of confluence going on right here, a lot of support. So this is the area on confirmation, okay? Only on confirmation if Ethereum were to roll over and come back down and collect some new support. Okay, if this just happens to get another bullish push on the next candle and then just break that resistance, okay, great. But right now, my thought process is around coming back down to this support zone. Just judging by the MACD, the RSI, the OBV, maybe collect some more power here. It could even only come down to 215. Yeah, let's lower that to 210. Okay, so somewhere in this range between like 200 and 210 would be a good support zone to be looking at if this rolls over on confirmation. Now, to find that confirmation is, again, we just watch. So this is a 6-hour candle. So maybe over the next 12 to 18 hours, we watch how price action, if it still consolidates under this range and then just starts to kind of taper off and roll back down. And you'll see something similar like this here. So look at this pattern, look at this pattern, okay? Good, strong trend. 7-day moving average starts to roll over. Price action candles do not break above this resistance, and it comes back down, rebuilds some steam, and then now you can see that support. So we'll want to see something similar here to confirm our bias, or our thought process rather, around possibly seeing a small pullback there. So I hope that was easy to explain. Okay, so for F, I want to wait for another maybe 6 to 12 hours. Let's give it 12 hours. And I want to see if the bulls fail to break 250. And if they start to test down here around 232 and break this little wick, then I'll be looking to long it back down here around the lower 200s. Okay, so let's look at total market cap. So this is the market cap of the whole crypto space. And I think we looked at this not too long ago. So this looks almost identical to Bitcoin. Okay, so again, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Our RSI is starting to also make lower highs and taper off. Our MACD is also making lower highs. Barely though, just barely. So again, this could be entering a distribution pattern as well. Okay, I want to see this trend line break right here. Otherwise, we're just going to chop down here, and then the whole crypto market cap is going to fall, and this will absolutely kill the market as well. So I think this, nope. Okay, so this was February. So this was February after those wonderful alt pumps, and then we got that big 50% dump. It's almost identical chart to Bitcoin. But when the total market cap fell, that means money was being pulled out of the market, out of crypto, out of altcoin, out of Bitcoin, out of altcoins, out of Ethereum, out of everything. They dumped it, and they moved all their money out, moved it into stablecoin or something, and then waited on the sidelines to buy it all back up again. So I'm watching to see if the same thing is going to happen here. Again, this is why I'm being very, very cautious on both Bitcoin and altcoins right now. So this is why I'm still really kind of in full scalp mode. So again, I'm not going to get overly bullish, excuse me, on market cap or on crypto in general, unless this is broken, flip that as support, and then we see some more money coming in into the market. But given everything that's going on around in the world, with the coronavirus still heavily around, and now we have America pretty much on the brink of civil war, and other countries are also rioting in their own ways for their own things. It's really hard to imagine, oh yeah, let's just jump into crypto, let's just jump into Bitcoin and stuff. I mean, people are going to start starving soon. When this is everything that's going on in the world right now is just going to get a lot worse. So I don't see how that can fit the narrative of mooning Bitcoin to all-time highs and everybody becoming rich. I mean, that's the stupidest damn thing I've ever heard of. So we got to keep a watch on this too. We got to keep a watch to see if total market cap is going to hold under this macro trend line, and if it does, then we'll see another dive and money being pulled out of the market, which will kill Bitcoin and altcoins once again. Okay, so let's move on to dominance. Okay, so for anybody that doesn't know, dominance here is how much power, how much dominance Bitcoin has over altcoins. So if you're unaware, obviously we want to see our coins, we want our bags to pump, so we want to see our charts go up. But for dominance, we want to see down, because the lower dominance is, the lower power and control Bitcoin has over altcoins. So again, if we look here, okay, so this was the end of January, and then once in February we saw all those amazing altcoin pumps, and then right around the middle of February, when coronavirus hit around the world, we saw that big dominance push, which also is what killed the market. So we're at a similar point now. So this was the beginning of May, and for anybody that's been following the copy trade channel or using that spreadsheet I saw, May was a good month so far for altcoins. Dominance has been falling, altcoins have been pumping. So we want to see a continued downtrend for dominance. And we can also use this chart to kind of help us signal when to get out of altcoins. Because if dominance is going to bounce, altcoins are going to drop. Okay, so let's look here. We're already seeing a bullish divergence. Our OBV is trending bull. Our RSI is trending bull. At the same time, we're making lower lows on this dominance price. So this is a bullish divergence. So what that means is if this just doesn't break this bottom trend line there, we're going to see some consolidation and get another pop in dominance. Now, when this rolls up and starts to push bull, get out of altcoins, because we saw that here. I don't know what happened with this big wick right there, but that was pretty big. So we saw some pullbacks on a lot of altcoins this past week before going into the weekend. So this pop right here and dominance pulled some altcoins back. So we don't want to get caught too much flipping altcoins and overexposing ourselves in altcoins with dominance showing a bullish divergence. So we got to be very, very careful. Quick in and out scalps if you can. Just lock in profit, because when the whole market dumps again, we're all going to get another chance to all buy it back cheaper. So let's just make sure that we're aware of that and protecting our portfolio. Okay, so let's get into a few altcoins. If you have any requests, any altcoins that you want looked at, just drop them there in the comments, and we'll give them a look at. So BAT, Basic Attention Token. This was one of the requests from Ancient. So we're going to look at this one, and he asked for both Bitcoin and US dollar pair. Okay, so let's start on a daily time frame. Okay, so it's not a bad structure. It's not a bad trend. Okay, so we got lower highs there. Okay, at the same time, higher lows here and then lower highs here. So it's got a nice little wedge there. So again, we can see right off the bat, if we were to just draw a horizontal line, you can, once you do this enough, you can kind of just eyeball it and see it almost immediately. So this is our resistance that we have to get above. So we can see the wick rejection right there already. And we can simply just draw a line across, because you see the same wick rejections here, You can see them holding that support here. Here's some more support here. Here's some more support. So all of this above was support. And then once it broke down here, and that now became resistance. Okay, so that's always always a rule of price action. What once was support then comes or becomes resistance. So BAT did reject right there. So in order for this to be bull, we got to get above that resistance and flip it back as support, and then break this upper wedge here, which looks to be possible. We're still trending bull. Okay, so look at our OBV there. OBV is trending bull. That means money or cash flow is going into BAT. RSI is trending bull. MACD is trending bull. We just got to get that lower time frame pop over that resistance and break that. So we got to get above here about 2430, call it 2450, and I think it's got a clear shot of breaking this trend line. And then we could just plop down a target, and let's just call up here at 3,000. So we might want to test the highs again somewhere up there. So if this were to break, that's got a good roughly 30% pop right there. Okay, and then let's assume that happens. Retest the highs, catch a pullback, maybe do a backline test off of that trend line, and then rebuild, and then it just pumps. Easy peasy. Okay, so again, just like I showed you guys with Bitcoin, we can't consider this we can't consider this structure to be bullish until we get over that resistance there. So we can confirm our bias. Okay, that's a pretty strong looking 2-day. Strong uptrend, strong uptrend. So BAT looks good against Bitcoin pair. But again, if Bitcoin is going to shit the bed and dominance is going to pop, it's going to drop this right back down. This is a pretty strong 3-day chart right here. So look at here. We got 1, 2, 3 candles above the 7-day moving average as support. So here we could see the 7-day holding this down as resistance here. These candles all as resistance. And now we got this little pop above. And now we're above that 7-day as support. So this is a 3-day chart, mind you. So this does kind of paint a continuation trend picture. But again, we got to get over this 2430 mark. But so far, it looks pretty good. So now, if you're wondering what would be invalidation, let me go back to that 3-day chart. If you're wondering what would invalidate this, is if this candle were to now come back and retest kind of down here at the bottom, as it would lose it would lose that 7-day moving average. And you can also see right there, okay, see that support line there, and that wick and that wick and this wick and all these candle bodies here, because these are just wicks, these candle bodies. This would be our invalidation. So BAT would be invalidated if it broke below 2200. Damn, my throat is rough. Okay, so that's about a 5% drop right there. Otherwise, I don't see anything wrong right now with BAT on the Bitcoin pair. But again, keep in mind, if Bitcoin were to do something stupid, it could crush Bitcoin pairs. Okay, so this is BAT. Good target up here, up to about 30.30. It is trending bull on the macro time frame, so you may just be waiting a while if you plan on swinging this. Okay, USD pair. USD pairs are going to follow Bitcoin. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about that. Man, that looks ugly. I mean, what the hell is this? How anybody can see this as sustainable, I don't know. I mean, that is just getting closer to testing it and breaking that. So this is also a good counter to figure out whether Bitcoin is also going to do something stupid and dump, is to look at the USD pairs. If the USD pairs start to show weakness and they start to possibly look like they're about to lose support, then it's probably a good sign also to maybe get out of alts or start scaling out of alts, maybe going into stablecoin or opening a small short on Bitcoin. But this right here, this is one hell of a rising wedge, or channel rather. That's one hell of a rising channel. I don't know how that could be bullish. And again, this was a rising channel, and it broke up there. This was a rising channel, but you can see the disastrous aftermath afterwards. So I personally don't see much bullish on the USD pair for BAT. I mean, this is just, that's not sustainable. Okay, let's look at 2-day. Okay, now we can see a little bit better from zooming out where this rejected. So let's draw our horizontal line across that wick right there at the top and see what it rejected at. Okay, so we rejected off some tops there, some bottoms there, and it's a bottom over here. So it hit a pretty decent resistance zone. So we can't consider this bullish unless it got over this resistance. So I know Twitter is probably like, oh yeah, we're just going to come pump up here, which may be possible. That also could be a blow off top, in which case I would be out before 28 cents. I'll probably even lower that to about 27 cents. Yeah, off of that wick, off of those wicks, off of that wick, because you know there might be somebody expecting to short up here and get front ran off of that lower resistance right there. So that is a possibility too. But this just looks horrible. I don't see how this is at all sustainable. So I don't like the USD pair. Bitcoin pair looks far better than the USD pair. This looks like shit. Okay, so another alt, metal pay. I'm going to try to pick up the pace a little bit because I don't want to take up everybody's time sitting there watching this for the next 2 hours. So metal pay was another recent call, another bottomed out alt that we've been looking at, or that I've been looking at rather. I don't know what that trend line is there for. It's probably there forever. Okay, so we could see a pretty clear accumulation going on down here. The only thing that's really missing is volume, but it's another kind of low cap, low supply shitcoin that didn't pump. And that's one reason why I was kind of bullish on it. Started to making some higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. So it doesn't look too terrible. Not on a daily time frame. Oops, that's 7 hour. Let's go back to 6. 6 hour doesn't look too bad. Looks like wants to get a little cross up bullish right there too. So I put this here as my target. I think I might have already set my sale probably a little bit lower at 43. Lower that. Okay, because you can see all these rejection candles right here, and these rejection wicks, matching these wicks over here, matching that wick right there. So that's a pretty good first target to shoot for a pullback, and it's still 27%. Now we're playing with 4x leverage anyways, so that 27% is about 100% profit. I'm not going to argue about 100% profit. I don't care if it pumped all the way up here to the next target. If I miss the rest of that play, okay, great, so be it. It goes 88%. I still made the rest of this move anyways because I had leverage. Now I'm out of the trade. I can go put my money and profit in somewhere else, shuffle some more to a stable coin, what have you. But this doesn't look bad. You can see it kind of kind of crossed a little bit bullish right there. Not the best looking chart, but I think we were just looking for shit coins that haven't pumped yet, and MetalPay was one of them. I know this one was highly shilled by some kid who's like a millionaire, and I don't know, something. OBV is still trending bull. MACD is okay. It's not the greatest, but this needs to pull up a little bit before the next weekly candle. And then go early into next week, it looks like it's got a pretty good shot of getting a pump. Okay, moving on to Stellar XLM. This one is kind of hot on everybody's list right now because we saw a near identical structure with ADA, Cardano, and ADA got a very nice push off its similar structure, and XLM looks to be about to do the same. Okay. Very, very nice structure here. So let's look at some of the first things that we notice. Okay, so let's look at our cluster of support right there, and let's just draw a line across that support. Okay, so we flipped this here, we flipped this here, flipped this here, and flipped this here. So this is a great support resistance flip right here, or SR flip, as you guys may see in chat. Very good SR flip right there. Okay, another thing that we can notice. Okay, good lower or good higher low right there. Again, this is daily time frame. Good consolidation right here above this accumulation zone, above this flip zone. Good accumulation. Look at our MACD here, just crossed up bullish. Good strong push on the OBV. Okay, so even while this was accumulating, you can see the OBV trending bull. So this meant money was coming into this coin. So this is a good flip here. Let's look at our 7-day moving average here, that green line. Good strong uptrend on that 7-day moving average. So if we were to compare that to ADA, well, I can do it from here. Okay, so we can see a similar setup here with ADA. If I can get this working right here. Okay, so now we can see this similarity here. Okay, so we got a peak high there. We got a peak high there. Fall back to the bottom. Here's our fall back to the bottom there. And then we got another mini peak retest of the high there. Another little test pump there. Okay, so if we're comparing ADA to XLM, we're probably like right here on this second candle here. Because you can see the flip zone. Look at the flip zone. Excuse me. Shit. Okay, so look at the flip zone here. So this was our bottom range. And then it flipped here. It did not come back and retest that bottom range. It flipped it as support. So we're doing the same thing right here with Stellar. Okay, so here's our bottom range, and we did not come back and test it as support. We flipped it as support now. So now we made a new reaccumulation pattern, and it's showing a good, strong, bullish upwards momentum. So XLM looks pretty damn good. So if I was to delete all that, confirm that off of some higher time frames. Okay, that's a pretty strong 3-day candle. Look at our OBV here on the 3-day. Pretty good, strong uptrend. Okay, so like ADA, here is our resistance that holding the whole accumulation structure down. So ADA, or excuse me, XLM needs to break. I'm going to show you on ADA. Okay, so outside of this wee little push right here, this is still the resistance line that was holding all of this accumulation down under it. Same thing with here on XLM. So 910, 912 range, rejection, rejection, rejection. So this is the break point that is holding XLM down. So you can see the break point there on ADA after that accumulation flip right there. Breaks and flips this as support and a very, very strong push. So since we're looking at ADA also, you can see, okay, you see that rejection right there off that wick, rejecting right there and rejecting right there. So it's a good rejection point. So if XLM was to do something similar, let's be a little conservative here. We could be looking at about 1600 Satoshi. So if we were to kind of gauge this push here, XLM or ADA from this SR flip zone did 72% and we didn't even notice. Okay, so let's just say if it does that same similar push, could test that lower wick there also at 1249 also. Which is still good. I mean, that's still 73%, so we can probably also consider a rejection off of that wick right there, because that was a good, strong buyback that held this structure right here as support off these wicks too. So we can plot that down as another resistance for profit taking. I'm pretty sure anybody would be happy with that. So let's just, for shits and giggles, assume XLM will pull the same pattern as ADA. And it would look something like that. Oops, that's a daily. So it would look something like that. Okay, good strong push on XLM. I think this has got some pretty good potential here. So let me go back and make that just one full chart. So right now, as it stands, everything in the indicators are pushing towards that bullish push, and we even got a little bit of an uptick in volume right there. So this could be a good hold over the next 2-3 days or so, unless Bitcoin ruins the party. So you always got to keep that in mind as well. Okay, so let's zoom down to let's zoom down to a 30-minute chart or something and look for an entry. Okay, right off the bat, and you could probably even argue that or something. I'm going to go with that here, though. Okay, so we could kind of just bounce around in this zone right here, maybe retest that 760 zone, because you can see, again, look what happened right there. Okay, so this was a resistance as it rejected. Now you can see that wick that bought that back up off of the top of this resistance. So this was a flip. Resistance and support. So now this line, 750, let's just call it 760 to keep it simple. This 760 is now going to be support and will remain as support until it's broken. So I think anything, even in this range here, is a pretty good buy to open up a swing trade, because this is only 3% off of that flip zone. Okay, and even from that bottom last night, that's 6%. Okay, well, I don't think anybody's going to cry or, missing 6% when we're looking at a pretty strong uptrend that could pop, 50-60% over the next few days. So XLM looks good. I think it looks like it's setting up to be a pretty strong play and might follow ADA there. So this is a pretty hot coin right now. I like the structure. Cork chain. Yeah, I really don't know what to say about cork chain. It's a good strong pop right there. You can see how we're kind of making this little bowl, kind of this little bottom out zone right here. We are missing a bounce. Every coin that gets a good pop always comes back, and it's still missing a bounce. Now I got some sales set. I think I moved one of them down to 50 because now this wick here is going to be resistance until it breaks. And I think I got another sale probably somewhere up there around 55 or so. So off of that wick. Now I was really hoping it would at least come up and test this because this was a big push. I mean, cork chain did 145%. I don't believe that a whopping 11% relief bounce is going to be big enough. So I think, you know, I'm hoping and thinking it may at least come up here to test 55, get a good 20, maybe even test 59 at some point for a relief bounce for 27%, and then come back down and consolidate. So it's got to do something like that. At some point, it has to bounce. It needs a relief bounce. So that's why I'm kind of bullish on that and playing that coin. But if it shows weakness again and rejection again at 50, I'm just going to cut my loss cut my profits short and sell at 50 from an entry of 47. So if I'm at 47 and I sell at 50, okay, that's a 7% move. I got 4x leverage on it. That's 28% profit. Great. I'll take my 28% and move on to like some of these majors that are popping, like XLM. Grin, I don't know why I got this up here. Grin looks like pure trash. I mean, this is a god-awful, horrible chart. There's no Binance, that's right. I mean, I thought this was supposed to be touted as like the next big wonderful thing. This just looks like straight ass cancer. I'm not even going to waste my time. Okay, last one. Unless you guys got any coin requests. WAN chain. Now, I'm going to show you guys why I chose WAN chain. And what I did with WAN chain is it's kind of close enough to the bottom that I don't care if it dips. I put a lower leverage on it. Instead of 4x, I went to 3x, and I'll show you guys why. So it's protecting me from getting liquidated by lowering my leverage. So all of these dates coming up here in June, which is tomorrow. You got all of these updates here in June, or it says or earlier. So it could be any time between tomorrow and the end of June. So these are some pretty big updates, 4 updates. So a lot of FA, a lot of fundamentals coming up for WAN chain this coming up month. So that's why I grabbed myself a bag there too. Okay, chart wise. Chart wise, again, WAN is not the prettiest chart. Okay, but it did look like it did reject right here. Okay, so here is our resistance that we got to get above for the same reasons I showed you guys on every other coin. Our current price action rejected right here at the same point because of these wicks, because of these wicks and these wicks. All of this that was holding this structure down now as resistance. So what I did was I lowered my leverage, and I'm building like a swing bag out of this with the lower leverage. So if my entry was, you know, around here, around 2040 or so, my liquidation is like 25%. So this would quite literally have to revisit the bottom to take my position out. Now it's a small bag, so it's not going to hurt me, but I lowered my leverage enough to where I can just buy it and forget it, with kind of having some confidence that it may not revisit that bottom and just and liquidate me. It may kind of trickle down and kind of test this area here, because we could be looking at revisit of 1800 as support, and then it gets that bounce. So this could be a quick our first impulse wave, get the pullback, and then moon it. But I went ahead and bought a bag at a lower leverage, a small bag. So I don't have to worry about keeping up with this chart every day, because we got so many other charts to keep up with, so many other coins. So it's just kind of my buy and forget bag because of the upcoming fundamentals that they got coming out for their project updates and whatnot. So if we retest and hold the support down here in the lower 800s, I can set an alert. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me show you guys how to do that. So I'm going to come up here and click this little clock. I'm going to set an alert. And let's see. Let's do less than the value. So if I'm looking at maybe adding to this bag at 18, let's just call it 1800, then I'm going to set alert. Let's go ahead and set it for 1850. Okay, so less than 1850. So if the price comes down to less than 1850, then I need to know that it's going to alert me, and it's going to refresh my mind to keep track of WAN, and I'll know that, hey, you better check this out. WAN is less than 1850. So now this is going to send me an email. It's going to show me a pop-up right here on TradeView, since I'm always on it anyways. And it's going to send me a text message. So I'm going to create that alert. Okay, you can see that kind of orange dash line right there. So now if price does come down and trickle here, I can then keep an eye on it to see if this support is going to hold. And if support does build up right here, and I look at the bids, and the bids are strong, it's holding the support, it's building up consolidation, then I can go ahead and add a bag right there and load up a little bit more. So I got my alert set now, so I don't need to keep track of WAN anymore. But I'm playing I'm playing WAN purely on the fundamentals that I got coming up here at the end of the month. Okay, you want to look at algo. Ooh, okay, there we go. Court chain, you're back up to 47. Let me look at your order books real quick, since I got you pulled up, because you are one of my bags. No, stop. Look at court chain. Oh wow, look at that monthly. Holy shit. Look at this monthly right here on the MACD, about to cross bullish. Look at all of that accumulation. Look at this volume right here on this monthly candle. Does that resonate into this monthly chart, or does Binance just show something different? That's a big volume candle. No, I can't see. Nope, I can't see the MACD on the monthly, but Binance shows a much better picture. Okay, so we got new monthly candles tomorrow. Holy crap. Wow, that looks actually really good. I may pull that sell. I got two bags of court chain right here at 47 because I was expecting this bounce right here on the 6 hour that I showed you guys. I was wanting to scalp it up here, of course. That'd be some really good profits on a scalp. But I may scalp just one of those bags, and I may leave the other as a moon bag, because that monthly is about to cross up bullish. So that may prove to be a pretty good swing trade. Okay, anyways, algo. I'm assuming on the Bitcoin pair. Okay, so I think I cut algo loose right around here because it looked a little weak right there. And again, for the same rules of horizontal price action. Okay, so I saw this struggle right here, and this is when I noted in the copy trade channel that I was cutting algo because it was struggling right here at this resistance off of here and then off of here, then off of here, and it showed that weakness right there in the MACD. So obviously it wasn't much of a pullback. Okay, now it flipped this as support and came up and tested the top of this next resistance zone. Okay, so look at the cluster of candles right there, and those candles, I mean, you can even go as high as far as the top of those wicks if you want. That's fine because it still meets the top of this confluence zone right here. Bottom of those candles there, that wick, tops of those candles there, and meets that wick. Okay, and it's rejecting. Okay, so it could also get a little bit of a pullback. Now this, keep in mind, is now a support. Okay, so resistance and will remain a resistance until price action breaks it. So we can't just say, oh yeah, we're going to go up here to 3,000 if we can't even get above 2,700. So now we can build our thought process up. Okay, so our RSI is kind of showing some weakness there. OBV is trending bear, so it's wanting to get a little bit of a cool down. Looks like we kind of double topped right there on our MACD as well. Okay, so this may kind of get that that reset there. Now, since this was a good support flip, we can consider this our pullback buy area and then turn this into a double bottom. Well, I mean, it wouldn't be considered really a double bottom. So we can look at this area here. I'm going to go ahead and extend this yellow box down a little bit to the bottom of that wick. So we can consider this area here, 2,300 or so, as our support. Because this, I mean, look at all these candle clusters right here. I mean, we are well up in this zone. It's a good rejection zone. There's a 33% move off of the bottom. Okay, sure, we might catch a pullback there. So I want to look here at 2480 first. And then from the looks of this, that may not be enough of a pullback. But then again, every time we looked at Zilliqa for a pullback, it just got these small minor pullbacks and kept pumping. So in that case, if this were to do some shit like Zill, pullback, use that as support, and then catch another push. So you want to gauge where your support levels are. Always put your support levels down so you know where they are. And that support will be a support until broken. And in which case, if that is broken, you can pull your sales. Or if you're accumulating a bag, you can average down at the next level down. For your next bag or whatever. I mean, pretty basic stuff. I mean, these are just simple rules of horizontal price action. And then we can zoom down a little bit further to kind of confirm that bias. Okay, this is looking a little weak. Still looking weak, still looking weak. Okay, so let's aim for about 2450 to 2500 for a pullback. And then eye it there, and then if it breaks below that 2450, okay, well, it lost this support line. Let's look a little bit further down, around 2300 to 2350 for a buy-in. Pretty simple stuff. Now, if you're looking for a swing trade, if you're looking for a swing trade, that's a pretty strong weekly. But note this weekly candle. Okay, note this 7-day moving average right here. If you can look real closely, look right here in the center. You can see that 7-day moving average right there, about in the middle of the candle. So that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bullish momentum, okay? Because this could dump back down within the next few hours, which may not be as likely. And then just turn all of this into a wick, in which case the 7-day moving average can come out behind it this evening on the new weekly candle. And then your next price candle could be back under it as resistance. Okay, so I would probably hold off on building a new bag to see how the next weekly candle is going to open. If you get a candle up here above the 7-day moving average, that's a pretty good bullish continuation trend there. And you can see the same right here. So that 7-day moving average kind of poking through the center there, but the next weekly candle opened above it, and you can see that wick right there off the top of that 7-day moving average as support. So if the same thing happened here, and let's just say it opens up at 2400, right at that resistance or support zone that we just looked at on the lower time frame, opened up above that zone, and then the next candle could be a bullish continuation trend. And then in which case, all we do is we plot down where our next resistance is. Okay, two very strong candle body rejections there, and kind of meeting this wick right there. So we can consider that to be our next target for a swing. That's a big push. That's 50%. And then now what we've kind of done is we kind of ironed out. Okay, so we got a little bit little bit of a push right here above, but we still got all these rejections here, these rejections here. So this is our overall macro level flip zone. So this is what's holding the whole accumulation structure down. And then voila, and we can box that in, and this is our accumulation. Okay, so once price action can get above and break the accumulation, and then bam, now we have our confirmed bullish full reversal, in which case if that were a swing bag, swing position, ooh, that's kind of high. But then again, if you zoom out, I mean, that's pretty normal. So that would be the next target if we flipped up above this accumulation zone here. But I would imagine this would be a strong swing trade. So I would certainly wait on algo to see how these lower time frames are going to shape up. Okay, because you see right there that pink line that we drew, that's where that 7-day moving average on the weekly would come out from behind that candle, and that is right in our support zone that we looked at just a while ago, where we will want to look for a rebuy. So flip this zone, confirm it as support if there's nothing that breaks down beneath it. Buy in here is our zone there, and then bam. So this is why I constantly stress to you guys learning price action to always put down your support and resistance zones. At least just know where they are, so you know what zones to look at to sell, or where you want to look at rebuying in. Because if you look right here, all these confluence of these candles right here, all these clusters right here, this was an absolutely perfect zone right here for algo to reject at. So if you were swing trading that, this would be a good place to take your profit and then just rebuy down here on this support zone, and then rebuild that bag for the next push. So the trend on algo looks really strong. So now that you've seen this, and if this is a coin that you're watching, you know that this zone right here is where you need to watch for support. So if you want to start building a swing trade bag there, that would be the zone to do it, assuming that the weekly candle holds on the next open. So that's something you got to watch for here in about five hours or so. Okay, what else you guys got? Is that all? I mean, I'll be around for charts and whatnot. You know, the rest of the afternoon and whatnot, maybe after a nap or something. So we can always just chart stuff. But if there's something in particular that you guys want to see here in the live stream, you know, just shoot it out. If not, we'll go ahead cancel this one out, or not cancel this one out. Close this live stream out so I can go get something to drink from my throat. But I hope you guys kind of learn to see how I build and develop my thought process around what coins I want to buy, waiting patiently for that trade to come to me, especially like here on Algo. That's a rejection. This is a 6-hour time frame. So to come down and retest this support to rebuild and do something like that, okay, so this may take a few days to do. So if I got to keep this on watch and patiently wait to see whether this resistance is going to break, or if we roll and come back to this support, then I can patiently wait and let that trade come to me and not FOMO a bag just in hopes that it's going to moon because crypto Twitter is shilling it and hyping it. They don't have that much power to move the market that much. There's too many noobs in the space. You know, they don't have that kind of money to really move a coin. They're not going to out trade an algo. If that algo says, hey brah, it's time to come back down and build up a support base right there, then the algo is going to do it. It doesn't matter what crypto Twitter says. So I hope this was a good example of how to watch your zones, watch your levels, let the trade come to you before, you know, you FOMOing in a bag, and then now you're sitting in, you know, an 8% loss, especially if you have leverage on it. That's a 32% loss, and then you're going to be kicking yourself like, man, do I cut this bag? Because a lot of times, if you're going to buy a bag here and FOMO here, and it does dip to this support zone for an 8% loss, and then you're holding in 32% loss, I guarantee you your emotions are going to take over and you're going to dump your bag right here in that support. Because that loss is going to be great. You're going to be kicking yourself. You're going to be cussing it, screaming it, and you're going to dump your bag into a whale bid right here at that support. So it's important. God, my throat sucks. So it's important sometimes, guys, to just patiently wait, watch the chart, and let the trade come to you, because this is looking pretty likely to come back and retest that support. Okay, I don't know how much more my throat can take of speaking, so I'm going to go ahead and just call this a good stream. I will post this in the Warrior YouTube channel and whatnot, so if you guys want to watch it later, in case something wasn't clear enough or you wanted to refresh your mind on what we went over and whatnot, it'll be there for you guys to view. Okay, so thanks for tuning in, guys. We're gonna call that good.